1A. I did this in my digital media literacy class. I had to write a beat sheet, which was essentially the storyline of my actual video, and I used correct grammar for the titles and stuff like that. 1B. When using iMovie, I had to use simple mathematics to time the video to make sure that everything would flow correctly for the video. 2A. I did this in my digital media literacy class by using a beat sheet for my story. I was keeping track of everything that was going in order for the story, and I wanted to make it entertaining for the viewers so that they would not be bored and so that they would understand it. 2B. I did this in my English class whenever my teacher is talking, and I take notes so that I understand later. 2C. I did this in my 20% project in DML. I had to read about Barack Obama, and I had to record information about his policies, and I had to analyze it for myself, and then I had to put it in an actual presentation form. 2D. I participated in formal presentations whenever our Fate videos were presented in front of the people who actually created the game, and informal presentations whenever I created a mini presentation for my happy parody about the progress of the video. 2E. Whenever we're in projects, I have to listen to each group member and understand their opinion and their thoughts on the project. 2F. When the creators of Fate came, we were given inspiration for our next game rounds of Fate, so we listened to them and gave them our complete attention. In my video for iPad Palooza, I read the actual rules and requirements so that I would actually be eligible to win if I was accepted. Whenever I had to think of a way to fix a clip in iMovie, I had to think about that I could cut it in half and then I could speed up the other half so that the whole video would flow together well. 4. I did this by utilizing my email by sending a video clip or a music clip from Finger Maestro to my email to put it in iMovie. 5. I did this in my worst commercial ever video by using different footage from different archives in different times, so it was kind of like a trend. 6A. I did this by keeping liquid away from the electric socket. 6B. I did this by being careful while I was filming and being aware of all the things happening around me. 6C. I understood that I could be electrocuted by putting body parts near electric sockets, so I was very careful not to do this. 7A. I did this in most of my projects. I showed leadership skills by kind of taking control and giving my opinions to everybody in the group. If people liked it, we kind of stuck with the idea, but if we didn't, I was definitely open for everyone's ideas. 7B. I showed teamwork by listening to everyone's ideas. This avoids conflict because everyone feels as if they're giving their own input to the group. 7C. Whenever I was in a group with some people, I discussed the day's plans with them by creating a task list, and we all discussed what we had to do that night for homework and what we had to do in class. 7D. I explained how to use applications such as iMovie to people who needed help. 8A. Whenever I submitted my video to iPad Palooza, in the credits, I gave credit to people who gave help to me, and I also acknowledged the apps that I used. 8B. Whenever you take information from a website, you must cite the source correctly or else it is considered plagiarism. 8C. We are able to use works and information from other people due to the First Amendment. 8D. We became aware of what society is trying to tell people. For example, we watched a dub video in DML, and it showed everyone how easy it was to make people look perfect using technology. 9A. My DML teacher, Mr. Simpson, would give us workshops on how to use the new iMovie in different parts of technology. 9B. I would come to class on time, and I would not get distracted because whenever there was work, time could not be wasted because the work needed to be completed. 9C. I used this skill whenever I was researching different science research jobs and internships for the summer, as well as volunteer opportunities. 9D. I created a resume and application for my application for National Honor Society. So I had to write things about myself, and I also needed letters of recommendation from my teachers. 9E. We made a folder containing our video clips for our parody during Mr. Simpson's digital media literacy class. 9F. There were many different types of research opportunities, so I had to choose which research internship would be the best one for me. 9G. Whenever we made our Fate videos, we were given an opportunity to make commercials for Fate or the Evil Hat Company. 10. Whenever I was making a movie, I had to create a task list so that I understood my progress and the things that I needed to do for later. 11A. I understood this whenever Mr. Simpson showed us the dub video that I explained earlier in the TEKS. 11A1. I saw this whenever I made a video using footage from different time periods. Audio and video is everywhere, and the industries need to come up with fresh and original ideas in order to captivate people who would buy, customers, to grab their attention. 11A3. We did not use a lot of terminology. I used GarageBand to make a podcast, recording my voice and to add sound effects as well as music and background. 11B1. Key elements required in audio scripts are volume, articulation, and enthusiasm. 11B2. Whenever I made a podcast for my Fate story, I needed to make a script in order to make it interesting and to captivate the audience's attention. 11B3. When I was making a movie, we used quiet, sad, steady music in order to make the viewer understand the sadness and the emotions that they should be feeling while they were watching this video. 11B4. When making podcasts, I first recorded on an iPad, app, then I edited in GarageBand, and then I made it into an MP3 file. 11B5. We used a blue microphone. It had very good reception, and it is the type that is used by radio stations. 11B6. When using the blue microphone, we plugged it into a computer because it had a USB cord. 11C1. You must record the video horizontally in order to keep it a full screen. 11C2. I needed to write an interesting story for my iPad Palooza video. 11C3. DV is an example of this. It is formed for storing digital video, and it was launched in 1995. 11C4. An example of this would be a dongle. It allows us to connect the iPad to the computer in order to project the image or file from the iPad on the computer. 11C5. Digital formats are currently video cameras and video cameras on iPads. Analog formats, they capture images using magnetics. Analog formats have less quality. 11C5. I focus the video camera by closing in and viewing out. 11C7. You must handle equipment with care, and you must record horizontally. 11D1. Whenever I was filming with my iPad, I made sure that I was recording the video horizontally. 11D2. I made sure that the sun was not causing the video to look distorted and more difficult. 11D3. I did not really use a tripod, but I understand the use of it. It's a lot easier because you can hold your video camera and still record without actually physically holding it yourself. 11D4. This could be done by keeping the background mostly eliminated. 11E1. Linear systems are editing systems that are assembled in chronological order. You must edit each clip in an order. However, nonlinear systems are systems that allow you to edit in no particular order. An example of a nonlinear system would be iMovie. 11E2. When I used iMovie, it was nonlinear because you could edit the clips and the sequence in no particular order. 11E3. Control peripherals expand the measurement and control capability of the data recorder. 11E4. When exporting a video from iMovie, you must, and you can choose the quality of your video, whether it be 180 HDP or a lower quality like 240p. An example of the pre-production stage would be whenever we made a beat sheet for our video submitted to iPad Palooza. 12B1. When we made the worst commercial ever, I had to view the comments in order to look for video footage in the archives. And I noticed a trend forming as the time passed on. 12B2. Whenever my teacher would give me advice on how to edit something or how to make a video, I would gratefully listen to his advice, and I would make changes based off of what I thought was best. 12B3. Whenever I made the TEKS file into a PDF so that I could edit it onto Notability. 12B4. Whenever I showed my video that was in progress to another group member, they gave me ideas on how I could improve it to make it better. 12B5. Whenever I was making a story, I had to create a storyline in order to make the actual video reasonable. 12B6. We were given all of our props that we needed for our video, including a green screen. 12C. So, in order to have a successful script and storyboard production, you must have a good storyline. Then, for the video, you must assign roles. The people in your group need to understand that they need to commit to the acting of the roles, and the editing must also be spot on. 12D. Whenever we were making our parody for DML, we assigned a role to each person, one person as the editor, or as the main actor, or as the filmer, or as the script writer, such as that. 12E. So you must utilize the materials that you're given. You're not always going to have a lot of money for a bunch of expensive props. So if you have a green screen, you can make a green screen out of materials that you can buy at the store for really cheap, for example. 12F. We thought about each person's personality, and then we cast roles depending on what role best fit their personality. 13A. When filming, I understood that events such as planning and making music and things such as that were needed in order to make the film a whole project and well done. 13B1. These different types of lighting, such as three-point lighting, key, fill, and backlights, make the subject or the person more focused in the video. 13B2. When I was filming a video, I had to check the position of the sun in order to make sure that the video or that the subject could be seen. If the intensity of the sun was too bright, the clip was not very good quality and it didn't really work out well. 13B3. Color temperature is the temperature that a black object would emit radiation of the same color as a given object. 13B4. I used filters whenever I was changing the clip. I could turn it from sepia to black and white to all different types of colors, schemes, and just the way that the video footage appeared. 13C. In GarageBand, I could change the pitch of my voice. I could change it from high to low. And I did this for my parody video when I actually had to sing. 13D. I understood that each person in our happy parody, the clips of every person, that they were different, and this added a different vibe to our video. It showed that everybody was different, and that was a great thing. 14A1. An analog system is a system that represents data directly, and it directly changes from one form to another form. Digital system is a system that is discrete time and quantized. 14A2. It is a device that makes the function use of a computer easier. So an example of this would be like a mouse or a keyboard or a monitor. 14A3. I did not use JavaScript because it was difficult to handle. I learned how to quit it once it opened by pressing Control-click, and then you'd press quit. I understood that by just taking pictures, a screenshot of the TEKS, it would be a lot more difficult than actually downloading it into a PDF file so that I could edit it on an app such as Notability. 14B1. Whenever I wanted to add originality to my video, I changed the font and the color of the script appearing on the video by creating a title first, then changing the font and adding my typing. 14B2. I utilized the titles and transitions in iMovie for most of my videos that I made this year to make the video flow more smoothly and make it more captivating to the viewer. 14C. These are things that show a digital representation of an image. An example of this would be like an image scanner and a digital scanner. 14D. I did this by realizing that whenever searching for something, you need to phrase things in a certain way in order to get the best results. 14E. I found that a lot of information can be found on websites And a lot of times these files come in PDFs and videos and a lot of different types of formats. 14F. By using the internet to allow people to access files, it is a lot easier instead of having a certain file or some kind of thing that you're looking for on a physical object such as a hard drive and physically giving it to the person. It's a lot easier to access it via internet. 14G1. Some colors such as yellow are very bright and hard for some viewers to see very well, so it's better to choose a neutral color such as blue or purple. And it's also good to stay consistent with your color and to not change it for every single clip whenever you're making a video. 14G2. White space is when an image in a design appears either negative or positive, and this explains why sometimes one color is seen more intensely than another color. 14G3. In my parody video, I used different angle positions in order to entertain the audience more and to have a different look on the people in the video. 14G4. When we were making a sad movie for the iPad Palooza, we used a steady yet very slow music playing in the background, and this kind of set the mood of the video, and it was appropriate for our video. 14G5. Whenever I was making a video explaining my Fate experience, I discussed things that I knew that people looking for this video would find interesting and intriguing. So I said things such as how to play the game and things that I enjoyed throughout the game. 14H1. Whenever I was searching for a video explaining how a certain type of technology worked in my DML class, I could not watch it on my iPad because a lot of times they do not allow these videos to be viewed on portable devices, and you need to look at these on hard drives or desktops. 14H2. An example of this would be files that can be delivered via technology. It goes way beyond DVDs and physical objects because people can access it just by browsing the internet. 14H3. So I posted my Fate videos on YouTube, so anybody who clicks on the video can have access to my Fate experience and understand how to play the game and understand like the positives and negatives to this game. 14I1. An example of a productivity tool would be the tool that allows me to increase and decrease the volume on a clip in iMovie. 14I2. So I created a podcast for elementary students to listen to while they were reading a book. They could listen to the podcast while they were reading so that they could follow along. 14I3. So I kept a digital task list on Google Drives that kept track of my progress for pretty much all of my projects during my DML class. 14I4. So an example of this would be when people give next steps to give peer feedback and constructive feedback so that I could change things to my project. 14J. So an example of this is whenever we create and fill out collaboration evaluations. So we grade ourselves sometimes, and we also grade our group members so that they can understand what we thought they did well, what they need to improve on, and we just grade them so that they can grow in the future. So my group could track our success by creating Google Docs of task logs. 14J2. So an example of this would be by creating an emotional appeal in a product, such as pathos, ethos, logos, and this helps convince the person by appealing to their emotions. So ethos appeals to their ethics, logos to information, and pathos kind of saddens the person and makes the person feel sad or happy about something.